Cool, cool, cool. And
We're
we're live.
Ray Padilla, Autofill Mastery, Media Tune, to name a few. Welcome.
So we're 100% live right now, huh?
Yeah, there was a couple seconds there where I was wondering if.
No, I'm just excited. It has been a while. I think it's been about a year since I've been back on. But what's up, Tint Wiz? I could say that for sure. Tint Wiz community, right here.
Well, I'm really excited to talk about the Autofill Mastery Growth Conference that you've planned for October. I've had the privilege to, we've speak with you before this, and I think it's something that, it's it's something that is going to be spectacular. Frankly, I don't want to give anything away, I guess. So I'll just let you.
It's one. I'll tell you, this podcast is not one that anybody's going to want to miss. There's going to be a lot of conversation here, a lot of industry updates. I feel as well. Naturally, putting on something like this, you talk to so many leaders in the industry, you get such a tremendous amount of feedback. And I just got done telling you, we got some giveaways too, got some special announcements that we've held back for this day.
Yep. Yep.
Last time we were here, I was with Mike Norn, and Aladdin, right?
Yes.
The whole team. I was looking back inside the Facebook and looking at all these episodes. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and being able to go back to those episodes, you can really get trigger the memories of the different places like you've been, and what the first ones look like, and we recapped them after, and how much they've grown, the different training seminars since then, and the program in general, and the businesses and the businesses around you, and the team around you, and so on. So that's one thing about the old episodes that I feel like is extra fun as time goes on, is being able to get back in that mindset and see, see where you were then, and what we're coming up on the 4-year anniversary, I believe later this month or the beginning of next.
Congratulations. I think it's fair to mention I'm part of the Tint Wiz community. I'm gonna brag about this. All right, I know you have some hardcore, loyal, diehard. I watch all the content. I'm gonna make the claim. I think that I have the most Tint Wiz accounts. We have dozens, and I have a cheat code because I have a lot of partners that we help manage their Tint Wiz accounts. So I mean, I got a list. Tell me how many Tint Wiz accounts you guys have. I want to see that in the comments. Let's see if anybody can beat Media Tune. But we're not here to talk about that, but definitely excited, like I said. And so where do you want to go first when we go back to the growth conference? What do you want to talk about?
First and foremost, I appreciate obviously that you use Tint Wiz and you refer it, and the shout out. So thank you very much. As far as the growth conference, why don't we start with how the first one came up? Let's kind of talk about the first one and then lead into the one that's coming up, which is the second one.
You were at the event where the idea of the first business conference. I mean, first we got to talk about what is it, right?
Sure.
The Autofilm Growth Conference, it's a business conference. It's a stage where shop owners step on stage and they share what they know. The goal here is we want to bring the best of the best together. I'm super happy and humble to say that me, my Autofilm Mastery team, Mike Norn, he's the visionary of Autofilm Mastery. We were able to do that. I mean, we had Ryan Townsley, Philip Chan, yourself spoke, I spoke at the conference. We had Sean Roche speak. We had a bunch of heavy hitters on stage, and they were just so open, and they shared exactly what worked. Joe Tabati, we just announced him as this year's first speaker, but he shared some of the best sales tactics. That guy's one of the biggest shop owners in the country, and he let it all out there. I mean, you're talking about held nothing back. And we had a Q&A session. People went up. There's no installation talk. There's no tint off. This is just a business-focused event. People come here to grow their business and get past that next breakthrough. But the idea of this came up at Aeroworks, Philip Chan's shop next to LA, City of Industry. I mean, literally the famous Aeroworks, right? A lot of people follow him. If you don't follow Aeroworks, you got to check it out. I mean, you're talking about nothing but exotics in his shop. Well, we had a 2-day workshop a year ago in June, so almost a year ago to the month. And, I just remember like yesterday, me, Mike, and Aladdin were walking back into our resort. after day one, I think it was, and we passed by this big conference room, and there was a corporation that was in there. I don't know who it was. All I remember was there's dudes speaking on stage, and there was a crowd, and it looked awesome. It's like, you know what? We need that. Our industry needs something like that. We can use better sales tactics in our industry. We can use better team structure. What's our business model in general? Who kind of talks about that? There's so many different things that goes into building a business, and we need a platform for the leaders to step up and actually share what they've learned. So now I didn't have all those pieces put together like that, like I just explained, but I just remember the conversation between me, Mike, and Aladdin progressed into the second day, and then after an amazing event at Aeroworks, it was day one was business training, day two was hands-on installation for PPF. A lot of guys came out. Shout out to Billy Ellis. Shout out to Jose Rios. They were coming in as master trainers that day. It was such a great day, a great weekend. We were having dinner, and then we just said, "Screw it, let's do it. Let's put it on." And then we had this magical idea of doing it right before SEMA in Las Vegas. So we can say we have a industry conference right before SEMA in Las Vegas, and that's how it got started.
So a couple words that you used to describe it that I think really hit the nail on the head are the words stage and platform. And it really feels like you're providing a stage and a platform for, like you said, different industry leaders and business owners, and to share their perspectives and answer questions and share their advice. What goes through your head when you're trying to curate who will be speaking at, the last one and then this upcoming one?
Oh, that's a really good question, Eric. Well, I think the need for that platform comes to mind first. We need it because our industry is growing rapidly. I mean, we have new products, new services, new innovations happening almost every year in this industry. There's a huge amount of people inside this industry, consumers who are jumping into the industry, but also consumers' awareness on the products we all serve, we all offer. It's skyrocketed. I mean, I thought it was growing last year, but you look at this year, and everyone's talking about we're supposed to have this slowdown, this recession. Again, that might be controversial, but let's talk about it. Later on, to answer your question, I think that the reason why that platform is so vital, and what goes into picking the people that comes on stage, it's really what's going to serve the attendees the most. What does the industry need the most right now? If you look at what we're going through, this is from my personal experience. I advertise all over the country, as you know, because I own a marketing agency, and one of the big things that I see is people used to need to get into video advertising more. They needed education video, especially for paint protection film, right? We needed more education on the product so there'd be more customers for it. There's more demand. If there's more awareness on something, then it's going to work well. So that's where education video came in. Now it's, I hear this almost every week from somebody, and I meet with shop owners every day. Now, okay, it's a race to the bottom. These guys keep advertising at a lower price. I'm getting gouged by this shop. I'm getting gouged by that shop. So to me, what I think the industry needs to hear is, as an expert in that field, I think the industry needs to hear that they need to do value-driven marketing, not price-driven marketing, right? And then some other people will say, dude, I can't believe how many people will not spend time on the phone with their customers. They give them a price in 2 minutes and get mad when they don't buy. So that's another thing. Okay, we need better sales tactics. There's another big need, training new installers, right? Or strategy in general. We had a great conversation with one of our speakers who's going to step on stage. He has a very, very strong opinion on one of the secrets to growing a shop being that if you can hire new installers and constantly work on your next hire, you're going to do great. And I can't wait to hear what he has to say. I was like, save it. I don't want to dig too deep. I want to hear it on stage. And same thing for building your team in general. Like, what does it take to manage a salesperson?
Yeah.
What does it take to hire your first manager, or stop being a owner and or stop being an operator to be more of an owner? So all those things are in consideration. And then we just find someone who's killing it. Clearly, we go through interviews, we talk with them, we ask for our community's feedback, the AutoCom Master community's feedback, and we pick them, and we line them up. And there's a lot of preparation for these speakers that go behind the scenes. They put a whole, yeah, there's a couple that have been planning for about a year.
So, you just mentioned like hiring and training, which is something that almost everybody needs to do at some point, is hire and train. Almost everybody. If you just want to be one person business, that part then doesn't apply to you. But almost everybody at some point wants to add to their team. And when you think about like, when do you get access to people who have actually done it and are continue to do it, and you have access to their time and their focus to hear them out and be able to ask them questions? Because realistically, other than that, like, you could potentially catch somebody at an industry event, but how much time or attention can you really grab of somebody? And then other than that, it's kind of like a Facebook, maybe text message, maybe you can get them on the phone. But if you're not friends with them, how much time are you really going to be able to get? So that becomes something without that like reassurance or extra knowledge or like mentorship, that it could make a big difference. And I feel like you're providing access with that focus at these events.
Oh, big time. You made me think about a story that I heard from Mike Norn. So he actually said this recently in a video that him and I put together. He said he's really comparing how things used to be, let's say 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I forget the time span. But he said, back then you didn't have the tools that we have now. You didn't have the technology, the film technology wasn't there. Plotting, the plotting software wasn't as advanced as it is now. And you really didn't have the community that we have online. You didn't have the Facebook groups. So it was impossible to know who was killing it, unless you went to the once a year, brand conference, or, you went to and you just happened to bump into somebody, you happened to hear about somebody, and you got lucky and got their phone number, right? Well, no, this is sit down. This is the best time for you to learn from the best of the best and really discover that next breakthrough. I mean, we had such a we went over by 2 hours last year, and we thought people were going to be mad. We wanted to over deliver instead of under deliver, obviously. But at the same time, we had a lot of people who stuck it out all the way until 7:00 at night, and they were still sitting there asking Ryan Townsley questions at the very end. So when you see something like that, there's definitely a big need for it. There's a massive appetite to grow in this industry. And I think that it's only going to get bigger. I really think that we're still at the beginning stages of where our industry truly can be. The automotive film industry, the coating industry, right? I think that we're going through a major growth phase. And the reason why I feel that way is because we have some giants jumping in this industry. When we went to Tinter Battles, I spoke on stage. It was amazing. That definitely got my public speaking fix, but I'm overdue, so I can't wait for the conference. But I made a comment. I said, people know we make money now. When you go to one of our shops and you drop $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 on your car, a professional, they're going to look at that and say, what are these guys doing now? I remember when I just used to pay $100 for window tint. Now they got me on this paint protection film stuff, this coating stuff I see all over social media. Window tint's $1,000. They added a zero on the back of that. How did this happen? They start digging. They start finding shops everywhere. When we have people dropping hundreds of thousands or $500,000 to get in this industry, and that's all great stuff because the demand is still growing. So the appetite from the consumers is bigger than it's ever been, and it's not showing signs of slowing down.
So, should we get into this one that's coming up? Should I pull it up?
Yeah.
Good time.
Roll it.
All right, so this is the actual website. It's autofilmmastery.com, and then you'd click on events on the upper right, and you'd click on Growth Conference 2023, and you'll end up.
What happens when you give the opportunity of the top performers to step on stage? The top performers of our industry, the guys that have made a living, a career off of making miracles happen in their business.
Trust your team and build your team, because you can't do everything solo. If you want to expand your businesses, have more income, you need to grow your team.
If you can get to the point where you have a team that you can depend on, wholeheartedly, knowing that they've got your back, your life is going to be so much easier.
I do three things. I save you money, I make you money, and I achieve your financial goals.
We are evolving and we want to make sure that we give a lot of value. At the same time, we want to make sure you guys learning and implementing what we're doing here.
Vision is seeing something with clarity that isn't there yet. There's a brick wall in front of you, turn it into a glass wall.
What I'm talking about here is growth. And this really came about because of my team.
This has been the first time I've ever seen this group of people come together, willing to share the knowledge and secrets that make their businesses so successful.
Everyone was very interactive with what I was giving them as far as the video marketing and how to create educational and promotional videos for your business to gain big ticket sales and big ticket customers.
We're going to add a lot more to the blueprint for the next Business Growth Conference, and I'll see you there.
Man, I just got such a good adrenaline rush from watching that. A lot of memories.
Look, bravo. If anything, I think that incredible video can speak to the high level of like everything that your team, which was a word from the video, your team puts into this whole conference, like, and everybody that's a part of it. And I mean that very sincerely. That's an incredible video. And it really does capture, I think, the last conference and what it's about.
It just put me in that space again. I'm in 100%, 100 mile an hour mode right now. 90-day countdown started this week. Actually started yesterday. And actually, I got a special announcement. We want to do a Tint Wiz giveaway on behalf of Tint Wiz. So I'm glad that you pulled up the website there, and thank you for showing everybody where you can find this page. It's under Growth Conference on events right there. Here it is, and this is on behalf of Tint Wiz. I'm going to give two announcements right now. Everybody, Tint Wiz is officially the first and the only diamond sponsor at this year's Autofilm Growth Conference. So super excited. I mean, Eric, it was an awesome conversation to have with you when we talked about that. I mean, the team was ecstatic. Mike, Aladdin, we're just like, no way. And it just is so suiting. You've been such a big advocate and such a great partner.
Something like this is the easiest thing to get behind because the value is clear. So to not support something like this as a company, to me, is a little crazy. And I mean that because I've experienced the value. I've been there. I see what it's about. So jump at the chance to support it. I want it to grow. I want it to continue. And I don't know, that just seems like the most obvious places to support.
So this is the official announcement, everybody. And you're going to hear a lot more about what Tint Wiz and Autofilm Mastery are going to do this year at Autofilm Growth Conference. You guys are going to see a lot more of that. So the second thing I want to tell everybody is, since we're on the Tint Wiz podcast, it's only right if anybody goes to sign up for the Growth Conference now. I know a lot of you are hearing about it from the first time right now. The 90-day road, the 90-day countdown just started. The first 3 people to sign up are going to get VIP tickets. You see it right there. It's sold out. We have them. And you're going to have a Tint Wiz VIP reservation on your table. It's front row. That's what VIP is. You get a little bit more access, but mainly it's front row, front and center. You're going to get that on day 1 and day 2. So the first 3 people who sign up, go for it, guys. We do also have the early bird tickets, the early bird ticket pricing right now. So it's a reduced price. It's actually half the price of what it was last year.
So how much is it for the early bird?
$695. $695. Last year was over 1,000. Fun fact: last year we planned it in 2 months. It was crazy.
$695 covers tickets for both days total.
Yeah, both days, day 1 and day 2. We had a lot more time to plan it this year, so we were very happy that we were able to lower down the pricing a lot more.
$350 a day because it's a 2-day event.
There you go. And also the second ticket, I forget what it is, but I know there's a reduced price if you buy a second ticket as well. It's even lower.
Okay. So buy your tickets together with people you're going with. And then this is at the World Resort.
Yeah, Resorts World.
Yeah.
Resorts World Las Vegas. They're the only one that's connected to SEMA. They got the Tesla loop. So last year, you go downstairs, you go underground, hop in a Tesla, and boom, you're right there. And I think the Tesla loop will drop you off at any one of the halls.
With all the walking you do at SEMA, being able to avoid grabbing a Uber and just being able to take that Tesla loop is so convenient. And then for anybody who hasn't been in that hotel, it's absolutely beautiful. Like,
oh, it's gorgeous.
Everything about it, including where the event is held. But the casino, the Starbucks downstairs is great. Every part of it.
They have 20 plus restaurants, all that stuff. I'm pretty sure they opened up some new stuff there too. There's been a big push on that resort. And I do know the hotel rooms are booking up quick as well. So if you plan on staying there, I'll do it ASAP.
Okay, so the dates are October 29th and October 30th. Those are the 2 days that butt up to SEMA, and then, which is a Sunday and a Monday, and then SEMA starts on Tuesday and I believe runs till Friday.
There it is. I know some people, especially on the West Coast, there's this thing where you only can last in Las Vegas for 3 days. We're all going to go through it together, guys. We're going to be there for a full-on week.
So you essentially want to arrive Saturday, October 28th. You spend the 29th and the 30th in the growth conference. You go to SEMA the 31st, which is a Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and however many days you can last, and then you head home.
Exactly. Keyword, how many days you can last right there. How many days you last?
I'm going to stay till Friday because I feel like there's things going on Wednesday and Thursday nights. If you leave before Friday morning, you're bound to miss something.
I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so.
So, question. Well, anything else on the website we need to maybe touch on before I question you?
No. We do plan on updating it with speakers as we announce them. The next speaker is going to be announced very soon.
Okay. How many speakers are there in total? Remind me.
There's going to be 8 or 9. It's going to be 8 or 9, maybe more than that. There's a couple that are trying to see if they can make it.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's there's quite a bit. It's going to be nonstop the whole entire time.
Could you, if you have it, like run us through like a very estimated schedule? Like, what's the day kind of look like at something like this? What times it approximately start? What's happening, and then what happens at the end?
Right. So all of it's subject to change. I'm going to give that disclaimer. there you go. But day 1, day 2, both are going to start at the same time, kind of start the same way. 9 a.m. is when the registration opens. And while we're waiting for everyone to show up, we're also going to have coffee and tea ready for everybody. But there's also going to be a sponsor room this year. So 2 different rooms this year. There's 2 days, twice the space, twice the amount of speakers, and 2 different rooms as well. In that room is where we're going to have the coffee and the tea. You're going to be able to mingle and talk with all the different sponsors there. Make sure you stop by the Tint Wiz booth. I have a feeling it's going to be very, very loud, very a big booth.
Is loud allowed?
Yeah, I mean, if we don't get,
Are flamethrowers allowed? No, I'm sorry.
Is Carlos going to be there? Is that what you're saying?
Smoke allowed. All right, let's move on from there. But yeah, so okay, there's going to be twice the amount of space. It was a big space last year, but it's going to be twice the amount of space. You're saying twice the amount of people,
right? So we project that we're going to probably double the attendance that we did last year. But around 10 o'clock is when we're going to get started, possibly 10 o'clock on the dot. We're going to have a opening session. Then we're going to welcome our first speaker of the day. We're going to go through probably 2 speakers back to back. Those are going to be some pretty intense wake ups in the morning, I'll say that. And then we're going to go straight into lunch. Lunch is going to be in the next room right over. So once lunch is done, I really recommend everybody coming back to their seats on time because we're going to have some giveaways. That's something we did last year. We're bringing it back. So it's on behalf of all the sponsors. To give you an idea, I think Legend had, it was Legend. We had a whiskey bottle with the Auto for Mastery logo on it. So some people got those. We had some rolls of film given out. Eric, you gave away iPads. That was awesome. But now there's 2 days. I don't know. I'm not surprised, but giveaways are going to be right after lunch, and then there's going to be 3 or 4 speakers after lunch. Right after that, we're going to end the day 5 p.m. on the first day. Day 2, we're going to end on around 4 o'clock because Auto for Mastery is going to do something special at this year's conference. We did it last year. and we're talking about bringing it back. I don't have all the details yet, so I can't talk about it. But day number 2 is there's gonna be a pretty big announcement.
Okay. So Cash was asking if he missed any sort of like coupon, I think, or anything like that. Did he miss anything?
Early bird pricing should be on the website right now. It should be I think $6.95.
Get early bird pricing. That's what you don't want to miss.
Right.
Okay. So, okay, you have a successful, every single person within your team is very successful in themselves. Like, you know, Mike has a great business, and Ryan Townsley and Joe and you and Aladdin and everybody, really, like, you involve Sean, and you've involved all these exceptional business owners. You brought them together. There's certainly some sort of business aspect to it, possibly, but it feels to me more like a passion project. It feels like a passion project, to an extent, for you, and then, like, you're able to. I think everybody feels like it's got to be a passion project for all of them, because I can't imagine any of these business owners are, you know, that's got to be what draws it. Can you speak to a little bit about that side of things, as well as, if you agree with me, or how you feel about, you know, that in-person connection that you're able to make, that one-on-one time or small group time that can only happen at something like this, probably, typically?
You know, it's really, I believe I can contribute that, because to really just the fact that everyone's all invested in this industry. Like, we don't have any part-timers here, you know? These are guys that are just veterans of the game. And, you know, I'll tell you this, if it wasn't for Mike Norn, I don't think I'd be as passionate about this space as I am. Like, if anybody who's had a serious conversation with him, it's contagious. Like, his passion for this industry, it runs deep, and it's because he's been at it for so long, you know, and he's been through trials and tribulations, and same with us. You know, we've fought like dogs to get where we're at, and everybody here, that, you know, everyone has had their time, everyone has their journey, but you know, now we're in a place where we can teach people what we've learned. We can help people cut the learning curve. We can show people, like, hey, you know, maybe do this, do that. It's just an inch difference. You know, it's not a major change. You're right there. You did most of the hard work. Try that out, and it makes a major impact. And once you do that, and you start seeing how much of an impact you've made on people, it has a trickle down effect. When a business grows, I mean, look at how many people are staffed. So those are all the things that come to my mind when it comes to being in a position like me and my team are. And you know, I think that's a major reason why.
I feel so strongly in, you know, and I think it's obvious. I think most of the people who listen to this, and most of the people that are, you know, it's clear to see how much we can learn from each other, right? Like, the internet's made that clear. Podcasts, videos, YouTube videos, everybody knows how much you can quickly learn something or improve something. So having, you know, that, like, manifests itself in Autofilm Mastery as a place that, you know, a stage, like you said, a platform that you can bring that together. It's I thoroughly believe in what you're doing.
Yeah, and, you know, we get a lot of feedback too. Autofilm Mastery, when it started, it was just supposed to be a one-time thing. It was just supposed to be a course. When we still have that, right? The PPF Mastery course. I mean, hundreds of people have gotten it. And what we did after that, though, is we just listened. We said, okay, hey, well, give us feedback. We're obsessed with feedback. After the conference last year, we walked around SEMA for days, the whole time, and just asked people, like, hey, what'd you think? Who's your favorite speaker? What do you wish we did more of? What should we do less of, right? And we got all this feedback, and one mastery course turned into an intro course. Then we had the intro and mastery course. And then it was like, hey, but all these different cars, I'm still getting stuck. When we came out with our flagship product, which is the Installer's Library, right? A lot of people in the Installer Library community, shout out to you guys. That's our membership, you know, and there's over 100 vehicles on there now, step-by-step PPF and Window Tint installation. And then after that, it was like, hey guys, well, I still want you guys to train us in person. And then, okay, well, cool. Mike said, dude, let's just do it. Went to Justin Day. Shout out to Justin Day's shop out in Las Vegas. And that was the first one. And I remember Mike came back and he said, so many people were asking me business questions. We went out to dinner. All they did was talk about business. Let's do a business one. So then we had this 2-day thing in Mike's shop. 1 day business, 1 day hands-on, and it was just for the in-store library members, no charge. Like, come in. And then that turned into a second time, then a third time, and then we said, you know what? Let's just do business only. And then we ended up having a conference.
Cash is asking, I think he just signed up, and he's asking if you're going to announce who the 3 VIP people are, because he wants to know if he made it.
Absolutely. I will have to get with my team after this, Cash, but I think that you moved pretty quick, so I will make sure that we announce the names. We'll definitely get it out there, and we'll contact you as well.
And then Scott asked about the mentorship program.
Is it the mastermind?
I believe probably that's what he said, mentorship program, but yeah.
Yep, we're going to bring it back. Scott, right? We're going to bring back the mastermind. One of the most challenging things about going to a conference and attending it is you get all these great ideas, you take all these great notes, you get so excited, and then after that, you go back home into your old routine and you're in your own ways again. So the mastermind is going to extend your experience so you can get more mentorship after. And yeah, we're going to be bringing that back this year. It's going to be very different.
And on a call that you were on with one of the speakers that I was on, you mentioned how important actionable steps were. And I thought that was a great point because actionable steps. So
yeah.
I
mean, the blueprint, look at that, for example. I think Aladdin was a very big advocate of that last year. And I'm so glad that he planted that seed because it's just gotten stronger. The idea is, yes, we can talk about the strategies that work, but okay, give me step 1, step 2, step 3. Like, I'm 10 moves behind you. I can't see move 4, 5, 6, and 7. Like, help me bridge that gap. So an actionable step is like, hey, these are the 7 steps that I took. Here's the 7 principles. Here's the 3 things that you have to implement right away. Here's the 1 mindset, the 1 thought process that I can encourage for you. Those are actionable steps. Write that down and implement that right away. And that's what we're encouraging our speakers to do. We don't want someone to go up there and just talk about their story and what they've done. We're going to talk about the 1 or 2 or 3 great things, right? Every speaker's not talking about the same stuff. Please believe me. But when they talk about their subject, we want to make some actionable steps. And going back to the blueprint, last year, Mike had developed this blueprint. Most of it was Mike. We had added in a little bit, but there's an awesome blueprint of like sales scripts for coding, for PPF, his pricing menu. Like you name it. It was like a playbook of just gold, and every attendee got it. Every attendee got it, and there was no charge for that. So that's actionable steps. That's something tangible that you can take home and train your team on. Open up that book and read it line for line, and build upon it.
You mentioned that you got a lot of feedback last year. What did we do right? What did we do wrong? What can we do better? What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less on? What are some that maybe stand out to you that you're kind of taking action on this year in either direction, whether it be something that you're going to have less of or something you're going to have a lot more of? Is obviously it's 2 days. So that I think probably one of the requests was we want more time, more speakers, more days.
Well, I think more breaks was one of them. So I think that's definitely one. They said the amount of speakers was great, but getting the energy level up, a little bit more, a little bit more breaks. So we're going to implement that a little bit, absolutely implement that. But where my mind went first was it's not going to be a rated R event.
Okay.
So those of you who attended last year know what I'm talking about. Joe, I'm talking about you, Joe Tabati. So part of the feedback, as soon as you were asking me about feedback, the first thing that we kept hearing, I said, hey, who's your favorite speaker? Who stole the show? Joe. He stole it. He is a comedian. We just, Mike, Nora, and me and Aladdin, we just went to his shop about 3 weeks ago now. And we were seriously trying to go and get him to go to a comedy club that night, like the next day, because he just is he's hilarious. And I think if someone wants to start like a way to get that man on a comedy stage, I'll support it. Whatever I got to do, we'll do it. But he had turned his advanced sales training into a comedy skit at the same time. I mean, even when we were having meetings with some of the sponsors that are coming back this year, they were cracking up, just reminiscing about it. So it's going to be mature. it's maybe, you know, there's not going to be no crazy restrictions, but mainly just joking about that there. I think some more of the feedback was they wanted, it was just more subjects, I would say. There was a lot of just variety of subjects, and that's always going to be the challenge of the growth conference. There's an infinite amount of skills and knowledge you have to learn when you want to grow and scale a business. And again, when you're moving as fast as our industry is moving, then what are you gonna do? Put on more conferences, I guess.
Make them 2 days.
There you go.
It's definitely especially nice that it butts up against a SEMA, because if you're going to SEMA, you do this as well, and it's not like an extra travel expense. It's just, you know, you're going to be there anyway. It's also a great like networking kind of warm up in a way, like, because you're seeing everybody, you're talking, getting things going. Then when you're at SEMA, you're more.
That's true. I mean, Eric, so you obviously were there the whole entire time last year, and we've had a lot of great conversations about this year. Being the diamond sponsor, what are you excited for the most about this year versus last year?
Well, I like how it's more speakers, and you know, having the opportunity to I don't know, is that public knowledge? Like having the opportunity to suggest a speaker or whatever it is, like, you know, look, I guess the best way to put it is I truly want to hear what these people have to say. I really enjoy learning from different people that have different backgrounds and experiences and so on. So, you know, I'm going there for the same reason why I suggest other people go there, is to hear the speakers speak. And I think you've done a great job, from the ones that I'm aware of that are potentially speaking or are speaking, of curating great speakers. Like, that's what it comes down to. It's very, you know, the amount of impact you can have from one thing that you learn. It could be one thing it could be just one little tiny thing, and it could be something that compounds with something that you heard in the past, or it could be something that compounds with something you'll hear in the future. But the more good information you hear and perspectives, and if you can take it in and just kind of sort it in like a way where you say, I'm going to listen to it all and I'm going to see what applies to me and what makes sense and so on, it can drastically change your life. It can drastically speed up a process or improve your business or change a direction. So when that much experience is coming together in a room, like, that's what I'm going for.
I love it. Yeah. And there's definitely there's a couple speakers, or there's one main speaker that has a major vinyl wrap background, killer vinyl wrap shop that's going to be speaking. So we really heard that. People wanted to hear more about that. There's also a killer window tint business that scaled up pretty fast in his first year. I'm excited to see what he has to talk about, what he has to say. There's also a shop owner that was kind of stuck at the let's say $10,000, $15,000 per month mark for a while. He's doubled, tripled his monthly revenue in a pretty short period of time. We're going to hear from him too. I think that most shop owners, most guys that are trying to get into this industry, they get stuck at that mark. So I think that's going to have a lot of value. It's not just this big giant shop owner type of conference. It's going to be something that anybody from any background, any part of the country, any age, anything, they can come and they can really learn what it takes to get to that next level and get that next breakthrough.
It's such a great concept. You know, it really is.
I got a question for you too. What do you think is we touched on it a little bit earlier. But I want to circle back to it. What do you think is one of the big skills that this industry needs to learn? Like, what do you think is something that we all could do better, or maybe is just a low-hanging fruit? It's a good opportunity.
Well, okay, so there's like what it takes to hire and train somebody and manage them, right? And like there's just that, like, first of all, it takes a lot of interviewing and trying people to hire anybody. Like you have to hire somebody, you have to, like, just like to get married to somebody, you have to go on dates. Like you're never going to just wait for somebody and you're gonna be like, you are the one I will marry when you meet them. So you have to interview people. You have to have an ad out to get people to interview, right? So like you have to have an ad out, you have to get people in the door, you have to meet them, talk to them, try them. You have to have time to invest into training them potentially, if they're not, you know, already up to your skill. So even just like having that time to invest into interviewing or training or having patience or taking them through a process of, you know, you might not start out as a master PPF installer, maybe you're prepping, and how long, what are your expectations of a prepper and so on, and how they can work their way up to an installation position. Like that whole concept. And even if it's answering the phones, right? Like it's the tone and the script and having the knowledge of the system. So they're not doing like a 30% job of the owner. They're doing 120% job than the owner because they're focused and it's their only task and they got really good at it. You know, because I think a lot of business owners may think they're the best answering the phone, but they'd be surprised somebody can come in and do a 10 times better job and they just didn't realize that it was even possible. But when somebody has patience and a happy tone of voice and they get good at it, I mean, so hiring and training is an enormous one. I think that, and how to interact with a team and what your expectation should be. And, you know, if you just say, I can't find anybody good, to me, that doesn't, like, you're not really saying anything. You have to be more specific than I can't find anybody good. You know?
I think we've heard that saying all too often, you know, can't find anybody good. I've talked to everybody. I've tried everybody.
Show me 2 ads you have running right now looking for people, and you'll almost guarantee they'll go, there are no ads right now.
Oh, but Eric, I talked to 15 people. You don't understand.
Right.
At some point, it's probably not a good strategy to say, hey, it's them. It's the people.
I mean, like Billy, I have to call you out on this. I guess my pickiness has held me back. Well, as somebody who managed a pretty big team and that went into multi-million-dollar homes, and we've done exotic cars and so on, you cannot tell me that you are so picky, but I was not picky. So I was able to hire people and we were able to operate this business, but you are so picky that that's the reason why you don't have maybe the team that you're hoping for. Like, you can't say it's your pickiness. Like, come on, man. What are you saying? Mike Norg's not picky about his installations. Ryan Townsley's not picky about his installations. They're doing $10 million cars. They're not picky about their installations. That's why they have a team.
Yeah.
Come on. They're super picky about their installations.
If you think about it, it's them too, that mindset, that you give up all your control. You give all the control over to something else. And it's just not like, the only control, what gives you back that control is, okay, what can I do? Because that's more controllable. What variables do I need to change? Is it the approach? Is it the expectations? Maybe I need to put a 90-day plan together. Maybe I need to set their expectations. 90-day plan, put them on.
Right.
Maybe I need to put some incentives together, some bonuses. If they meet these criteria in this period of time, they can let's say installation, if they can install a full front in 5 hours in the first 90 days, 6 hours by themselves in their first 90 days, then they're going to get a pay increase, and this is what they're really going to want. Or maybe they're eligible for commission. There's so many different ways that you can really build that. Or maybe it's as simple as going back and kind of learning how to really manage and build. And I'm not talking about anybody in particular here. I'm just talking out loud. But my thing is, it's like, there has to be something that you can do that's within your control. Because as soon as you relinquish that control, well, then shoot, it's never going to change.
And I think at the core of it, an important part of it's being completely realistic with what you see and what you tell yourself and your narrative. And like Billy mentioned, I just want to address the comments. But Billy mentioned that, you know, he's saying it's a fault. And he's agreeing with me. And I don't think we're agreeing, because what I'm saying is pickiness is not the actual reason. You're saying it's a fault. I'm saying it's not even the reason. There's something else. There's some other reason why you haven't hired or haven't been successful hiring or whatever you're referring to. It's not pickiness. So what I think is important is to say, I haven't tried enough people, or maybe I'm not good at it, or maybe I haven't devoted enough time to it, or whatever, but it's not pickiness. And when you're extremely honest with yourself, when you see, like you said, where can I have control? You might not be good at everything, but where do I have control? Where can I take that step? Can I learn the basics of Google Ads? Because then that puts me in control of advertising, or at least I can communicate better with my marketing company. Can I write a script down? Just so for myself, how do I say things? I can write it down. That means when I get somebody else, they can do it like I do it. Can you do those things? Like whatever you can do, it's being realistic with yourself. What are the real problems? Don't buy business cards if they're not going to bring you more business. Like don't do things that are just to do them or have a reason that's not the real reason, because you only lose. I feel like, everybody can look in and say like, what is holding me back? What is my issue? Where can my business actually benefit? And it's going to be different for everybody, but that's the soup that you're putting together of different business owners that can come together and give you a perspective. And somebody like Billy can hear from somebody like Billy that went through something like that and came out the other side and can resonate with Billy or somebody else.
Right. I think there's definitely an art to building a team. It's tough because once you get to that team of 5, then you have to learn how to build a team of 10. And then the team of 10 feels and looks very different between a team of 20 and then 40 and then 50. And then, then you end up having a team like Ryan Townsley. And I lost count. I don't even know how many people he has on his team. But there's different layers of leadership. At some point, you have to teach someone how to manage other people. And then you have to teach someone how to manage a manager. And then that's where core values and systems and standard operating procedures come into play. It's I thought I had that stuff down, and then I found some great reading material, some great books this year that made me feel like an amateur. I was like, dude, nothing. Back to square one. You thought you got this down, but
there's always should be a student, right? Like
big time. Here's my thing, right? Like I think one of the reasons why I love the fact that we have a conference, and I love the fact that we're able to even add a little bit of into the industry in this aspect is, man, I've been doing this for over a decade easily. I usually listen to audiobooks every single day. I do usually a book a week, and sometimes it's the same book over and over again. But there's only a couple finite ways to really feed your mind. And I forget who said it online, but there was a video that I seen online that I really love, and it stuck with me. There's really 3 things that hold business owners back. It's either lack of belief, a lack of skill, or lack of knowledge. And it's always rotating between the 3 of those. But the unknown is the hard part. You don't know which one you're going through. Sometimes you have to go through it for 2 months, 4, 5, 6 months, and then you look back. And then, hindsight's 20/20. Everything is clear at that point. But, looking back, if you go and you find that one book that you never heard of, man, there's been times where I'm like, I swore I've searched for books on this topic a million times, and all of a sudden this pops up. All of a sudden this is on my my Facebook feed, my TikTok feed. You buy it, changes the game for you. Just added 20% onto your monthly revenue because you just decided, I'm going to study this. Let me just look into it. Or if it's not a book, then it's a conference, an in-person experience, or it's coaching, right? One-on-one coaching. I know some studs in this industry that pay for some very high-level coaching, or one-on-one mentoring. Ryan Townsley talked about it last year on stage when we were doing a Q&A. He has a billionaire mentor. He goes, man, I wanted to make a big move, and I went to negotiate with him, and he gave me his opinion. And it was a great part of the conversation. Or, you can go to big conferences. You can buy courses. You can do 99 things. But learning from your own experience, that's great. That could be very expensive, though, because it could take you 10 years, 10, 20 years. Why not learn from everybody's experience? And it all just goes full circle to this Auto Film Growth Conference conversation. So I love it. But it's the constant game. It's a problemtunity, that's for sure, whenever we're trying to figure out what to focus on. And that's the challenge that we have when we're trying to figure out who to put on stage. What's going to knock the big domino down that knocks down all the rest?
Outside of Auto Film Growth Conference and so on, just in the last year, does anything stand out, like on the media tune side? Something everything Girl. I love you, Billy. Billy. All right. Anyway, anything on the media side, on the media tune side of things, just like in the general marketing world, or business in our industry world, that in the last year, you feel has kind of made a change?
Oh, massively.
Like a lot of change. Which ones stand out to you? Which are like the biggest kind of highlights?
Well,
you just feel different about this than last year, or this is kind of a new thing to you, or whatnot?
Yeah, it's definitely changed. I mean, that's why I like to think I have my finger on the pulse of the industry. And I think, and the reason why I say that is because and it's important for the viewers to know that we have campaigns all over the country. That gives us incredible insights. So, I mean, just this year alone, I think we're going to get close to managing about $2 million in Google ad spend. That doesn't include all the other platforms. So what does that mean? Well, we get to see demand rise or dip across the board, across the country. And when you have that much insights, you kind of start to see the trends. Year over year, we get more and more insights and more data. And MediaTune, you know, I'm pretty proud to say we went through a major growth phase this year as well. So our understanding has even broadened even more. And what that has showed us is, well, look, this has changed, that has changed. Let me give you an example. Last year, the slow season came early. I talked about it at Tinner Battles. The slow season came early, right? Normally we have the slow season around October time. It came probably mid to end of September. A lot of people got gut checked. We still had pandemic talk last year. We still had people talking about gas prices and inflation. But this year it was a little different. There was definitely a bigger slowdown during summertime, as soon as summer hit. And once you start going and checking temperature with people all over the country and looking at all the data, you come to find out, well, shoot, now people have a little bit more disposable income. They've been holding back. Yeah, they're not spending as much on things that they don't need because they finally have a year to travel. So people fully took advantage of summertime and they traveled more than ever, and people started seeing this happen. But as much as we see the turbulence and the downside of these things, it also shows us how the demand is increasing. There's more people wanting paint protection film now than ever. There's more people wanting ceramic coating now than ever. There's more people that are upselling window tint now than ever. The tickets across the ticket size, the sales size for window tint is higher than it's ever been. And you can attribute it to the new film technology. You can attribute it to the increase in demand. You can attribute it to the increase in education. Some other things that come to my mind is the amount of content that's out there. And I'm actually going to say it now. I'll make it this announcement. I'm going to be speaking at this year's conference again, and I'm going to talk a lot more about this. We're going to talk about some MediaTune secrets. We're going to talk about what we learned in the past year. We're going to talk about market conditions, state of the industry. That's kind of the topic for my presentation this year, because it's evolved so much and it's benefiting us. Every once in a while, and I think way too often, I hear some pessimistic business owners or maybe some overly cautious business owners. I'll say that because there's very few that are overly pessimistic, but they hear the recession talk. They hear about all this, and those are very valid. I'm not dismissing those, but focusing on that too much only slows you down. I want to focus on who's really still winning. If trust me, I call myself a wartime leader. That's a personal mantra right there. Wartime leader. Because when shit hits the fan, someone has to step up. Someone has to take the team and push it, right? No one wants to take a step back. You just want to keep moving forward. So when I look at the growth we're having here, and when I look at what we're seeing, that's not what they're saying everywhere else in all these other industries. I get it. There's some dealerships that are slow. I get it. There's some restaurants that are slow. I get it. There's some other industries that are slowing down. But that's not us. I don't see that. There's too many business owners that are having record-breaking years. They're doubling, tripling their income in a year, less than a year. You're talking about guys that were, one of our speakers, they started growing again, second generation business, right? They started growing again in 2019. How does a business that's been around that long experience that magnitude of growth? It's because they figured out what's working. What are the trends that are working now? If you focus on what everybody else is going through, you're going to be one of the many. But if would you say, like, okay, obviously there's
some companies that are growing significantly. There's
Yes.
some that are saying things are kind of slow this year. Like that's at least what I've seen online. Like there's some. If you had to speculate, if somebody's feeling like it's not as busy as they've expected, would you point to they probably just don't have the right marketing in place?
I wish I could say that, but it's never that straight answer. I always say, look, first thing, go back to sales and marketing process. Do you even have a marketing plan? Do you even have a sales process? Right? How many leads are coming in? Can you tell me exactly how many phone calls you got in the past 30 days, exactly how many leads, and exactly where they came from?
It feels slower is usually like, I feel like feelings are typically don't line up with numbers.
I'll tell you this, Eric. I don't want to feel like it's working. I don't want to feel like it's slower. I want to know. And especially if you're using Tint Wiz, there's no reason why you should feel like it's working. Think about it. If you have a marketing plan, that means you're paying Google. It means you're paying Facebook. That means you're going to every single car meet. That means you're going and trying to collaborate with influencers, right? So that's all trackable stuff. You have to be able to track your marketing channels. Where are your customers coming from? Every salesperson, for example, they should be answering the phone and saying, hi, okay, well, let me ask you, if you don't mind me asking, we're trying out some new marketing activity. How did you hear about us? Where did you hear about us, right? Okay, great. They're going to tell you some answer. Take it down. Put it inside Tint Wiz, right? You can label everything. You can tag it in Tint Wiz. That will then tell you, that gives you eyes on where everything is coming from. The next thing is you double check your sales process. Do you know how many leads you're closing? If you had 100 leads that came in this month, how many of those closed? So to go back to your question, there's so much that you can do between the sales and marketing process to figure out why you're slowing down, why you're not doing as well as you should do last year. There's no reason why unless there's always a small margin, right? But for most of us, there's no reason why we should be experiencing a decline in 2023 with everything that's going on right now. If there is, then I would be calling every major shop. I'd be reaching out to every network. Hey, what am I doing wrong? I just want to have a conversation with you. I just seen your post. You're crushing it. Can I get 5 minutes? Can I get 10 minutes? If I would have done that, I would book a flight, go to someone's shop, sit there just to get the energy from them. What's working? What am I doing wrong? It's that student mindset.
You mentioned earlier a lot of shops get stuck around or maybe plateau around the $15,000 a month revenue mark. So call it $200,000 a year. Maybe they have 1 or 2 or 3 people total working in there. Right. If you were to be advising a shop like that, whether you'd be offering marketing services that MediaTune offers or just kind of advising them on where their expectation should be, what kind of first step budget for somebody who says, we have great online reviews, but we're not really spending any money in ads. This is where we're at. We're at that $15,000 a month. What should an expectation be for somebody like that in general, if they're dealing with a marketing company?
I love that question because I get a lot of these phone calls. I take a lot of these meetings. Unfortunately, we work with a lot of bigger shops, and I think at that point, I'm not able to help them with our services, right? A lot of people want to hire my team for our marketing services, but if you're at that 10, 15, it's just a little bit too much of a stretch. So I still take those appointments. I'll sit on the call for hours and I'll tell them, hey, give me a call back in 30 days and let's see if that worked. Give me a call back 90 days from now. Do that, get to this number, and then I'll tell you what to do next. Advice is always free. So the first thing I always tell them, I always ask, of course, hey, what services are you servicing? What's your monthly revenue? What's this? What's that? Do you have a Google My Business listing? Are you on all the platforms? Do you have all your marketing channels set up? Are you posting on your phone, on your social platforms every day? It's free, right? That doesn't cost anything. Are you asking for reviews on every single customer? Are you getting that 5-star review? That's free. That's going to generate a lot of revenue. Well, if that all checks off, then I'll tell them, what is your focus? What service makes you the most money? I find that most business owners that are small like that, they get stuck like that. They're focusing on trying to offer more services. But if you keep trying to offer new service, you're starting over every single time. So if you're great at offering coding, great. Scale just coding. Focus on that one until you hit 25,000 a month, 50,000 a month. Become world class at that. Don't focus on learning window tint now or PPF. Let's fill up coding first, right? Shoot, you can get to $1 million a year just by focusing on the one.
Okay, so the logic, I imagine oftentimes it's because like what you're saying, I love that, right? It's kind of a Gary Vee thing, go deep, not broad, become a specialist at it, right? You're going to get a premium for being the specialist. But a lot of people's logic is going to be when you're maybe telling them that or right before is, look, I have, I get 4 to 5 customers in my shop a day. They're spending on average $400 or $1,000 or $2,000. If I can add another revenue to their ticket, it seems like a good idea. Why is it not as great of an idea as maybe focusing on that one product, or does it just depend?
It does depend, but in most situations, doubling down on the one that's generating the most revenue or that you're the best at, it will make you the most money. Because think about it. If you're $10,000, let's say you're $5,000 a month detailer, right? Offering ceramic coating just by yourself, that'll take you to 10, 15, 20,000. That means you don't have to update all your paperwork. You don't have to create a new proposal. You don't have to change your sales script. You want to operate a small company like you're a big company because it's so much easier to drop people inside after that. But now, let's say you're a $20,000 per month shop. You should still just focus yourself on ceramic coating because now you have enough capital, you have enough revenue to hire somebody. Let them go through the learning curve of learning how to tint windows, or they already know it, right? So now you're learning leverage. So I feel that if you were to, yes, at a certain time, yeah, you should offer these services. Absolutely, you should offer those services. But does it really need to take your time? Or can you create leverage? If you double down on a service, you learn how to get more of the customers who are generating the most money. It's going to be simpler purely because, again, let's say you're at that 20,000 per month level. You know what? Let's say 50. Let's say 50, because I get this conversation a lot. People come in, they want me to advertise ceramic coating, window tint, PPF, paint correction. They want us to do all of it. And I tell them, okay, well, what's the thing that generates the most revenue? And when I start having that conversation, I kind of open their eyes because here's what happens. If I could just streamline all the leads that are coming in, you get the same type of customer. How much easier is that for your salesperson to become a black belt?
Right. Like a Jiffy Lube changing oil. If they had to do transmissions and they also did headliners and it can become a disaster. And like adding ceramic coating to like paint protection, no big deal, right? Like for the most part, but like adding paint protection when you're just doing window tinting can be like a whole different thing, or trying to do paint correction with any of those can then be a whole nother, like you're saying.
Complexity kills growth. It just kills it. It can't, either if it's going to be complex, you better charge 10 times more than everybody else, because that's the only way. And then you have to 10x your customer service, the outcome, the quality. You're going to get less customers, but you got to offer a huge premium if you're going to have more of a complex service. That's why, how many building a rocket, how many billions of dollars is that? That's not exactly, scalable yet. Elon's trying his best, but it's going to take a while.
Yep.
So simplicity gives you that scalability.
Agreed, and it keeps everything simple, like you said. Less inventory, less space, less training. Imagine you bring somebody in to train and they have 10 different things to learn instead of 2. It's 5 times more.
Yeah, and again, but I agree with you. If there's a major need, if you're doing great,
if it's super complementary, then go for it. But if it's just to grow revenue, it's probably bogging you down potentially.
Well, even though if it's to grow revenue, yeah, but it's just, can you leverage your time, right? Can you leverage your revenue to get more time? Can you have somebody else? Can you put a training process together or put documents together so that you can hire a window tinter to add window tint as a service if you're crushing it with PPF and you don't have window tint just yet,
Yeah.
Scale, but still focus your efforts on PPF and growing it while you try and leverage some revenue, leverage your resources to get that window tinter. So most of the time it's that, hey, let's focus down.
You know, we're talking about scaling up, and something also I think worth mentioning also is kind of like understanding what the scale, like when your business is at scale, meaning like not every business can just indefinitely grow without considering like square footage and like hiring and like, you know, operations and so on. So like what is scale, and like having a business that, to me, scale is kind of a level of expectation and like efficiency. It's when you're kind of at this level of like, hey, we're making great use of the space. We're taking full advantage of the staff and their efficiency. Everybody's kind of working at their potential, and then that business is at scale, and that's kind of, to me, like a harmony, like a magic point. And you don't necessarily want to disrupt that either. Like that is, to me, like an end goal. So I don't know, just kind of something that came up when you were mentioning that before. But you know, it's knowing, like, if you're in a shop and you like the size of your shop, what does scale look like in that shop, to when everything's running at efficient level, and then that can lead you to what that next step is, whether it be a bigger business or another business, or like you said, leveraging staff to bring in more revenue and so on.
You know, if you can create a scoreboard, life is going to be so much easier. And what I mean by that is you can really numbers will tell you everything you need to know about the max potential of your business, the max, I mean, your problems, your successes, everything. You can, a number is how many leads come in every single month. A number is how many phone calls come in every single month. Another number is how many, what percentage was closed, right? And then another number of that is how much revenue did that generate? And then after that is what's your profit margin? Now, okay, how many people did that take? What's your labor percentage? And then you look at what's another number you can track that will expose everything for you. What is the max amount of people? Is it 4, 5, 6, 7 that you can fit inside of inside your shop? And I guess a better way of saying that is how many cars can you fit inside that shop at a certain time? And then how many hours is that? Now, most business owners are great at that. They look at how many hours it takes to install a full front or window tint, and how many cars they can fit in there, how many people they can service per hour, per day. I could probably do 2 full fronts a day, for example. They're really good at that part, but they falter on a lot of the other numbers that we mentioned. If you just create that scoreboard for yourself and you write it down month over month, you get in the rhythm routine of that, you'll know exactly what you got to work on, where your wins are, where your strengths and weaknesses are. And it's all, you know, it's a problemtunity, right? It's something that problem management is like the cousin of success. You know, problem management, there's always a good, healthy problem that you should be working towards. It's just identifying what problem you're facing right now. I feel that a lot of people go through a sales or marketing problem. There's a major problem with hiring people. There's a major problem building your team right there.
Right.
You know, and then there's a major problem on knowing what to do on process and procedures, so that you can take a step back, right? Looking at all those, that's a great problem.
And Maverick in the comments mentioned about like growing, and you know, eventually you have 10, 15, 20 man crew, and when is enough? And Patrick Francisco's answer, you know, it's up to the business owner, is a great, perfect answer. You know, I kind of want to tag that question with what I was mentioning about scale. I think that's kind of, to me, in essence, the point is, you know, we mentioned like hiring a marketing company, right? And if you're only a $15,000 a month or $10,000 a month company, you may not be able to hire the marketing company because the budget doesn't make sense, because your business isn't at scale. If you don't want to answer the phones, you need a receptionist, right? But it may not make sense until you get to a certain size. So having a receptionist, being a certain size that you can afford the receptionist, you can afford the marketing company potentially, you can afford an installer, you can afford a salesperson, and all those things in the business work in harmony. That, to me, in the space that you have, to me, that's kind of something that I think everybody should think about and kind of consider what that scale is, where it makes sense. Because I think in this industry, a lot of people are taking on many, many hats, But a lot of times it's because things aren't structured in a way at scale that it makes sense to pay somebody to do that. So you end up kind of doing it all. So getting to scale is that concept of whatever you want. If you want an installer doing the work, or if you do want a receptionist, getting to that dollar amount that it makes sense and that percentage makes sense, and you can break off a part of marketing and so on, because truly you have to build a marketing budget in, and bigger companies have bigger marketing budgets. They can do bigger things. So if that's your ambitions, you have to see that so you can get to the scale that allows you to do the things you want, whatever that is, right? That's your target. It's not just about more and more and more.
Oh yeah, Mike actually, I think on his website, he has this great chart. I don't know if it's there anymore, but he breaks down your percentages. 25% overhead, 25% material, 25%. I think profit. I'm missing it, but you get what I'm saying. So you can kind of take that mindset, look at your categories of expenses and how much profit you should make. I mean, bare minimum, 25% profit, right? Up to 30. There's some guys that are, close to 40% profit in this industry, which is mind blowing. But, take that in consideration and how much you want to make. Numbers, the trail of numbers is going to tell you everything.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Shout out to Pat though. Love that guy.
Say again. Oh, Pat.
Let's go.
Marketing Mondays.
Yes, sir.
It's returned. It's going to be next Monday.
Nice. But yeah, there's a bunch of comments on here, huh?
Yeah, Maverick saying he's making between 20 and 40,000 plus a month, but he has no debt department, and it's just me. But everything's good. I own 2 duplex. I mean, and that's another thing, and that's why it's so cool to hear from a diverse group of business owners, because there is also there's this extreme where you have somebody like Maverick who is making a ton of money, in my opinion, as just a one-man show. And then you have people who might be doing 4 times the amount of business and making less money than him. And why is that? You know what I mean? Yeah. And how do you avoid from working your way into that position where you've grown your business 5x and you've decreased your net income somehow, or maintained it? You've just grown your workload, or grown it a little, but not enough, or to your expectations, and learning before you end up in that point, because it's pretty easy to get there.
Oh man,
if you go astray. There's
a killer story, and excuse me, I'm not sure if it's out yet, but it's from Joe Tabati. We filmed it. We went to his shop, and it's going to be posted on social media if it's not posted already. But he made that excuse. He made that big problem, that big mistake. He hit his first $400,000 a month and was negative. He was negative. He lost.
And I'm sure he got a lot of wow, congrats, you're doing so well, you're killing it. And he's thinking I am killing it, but
it's a crazy story.
It seems that way.
It's a crazy story. They grew fast, and now he does, $400,000. What? That was every month, right? Or that's every month. But he was paying out some big bonuses. And his team was celebrating, and then he had to have a tough conversation with them after, I think it was the second month that it happened again. You're supposed to be on top of the world. You're thinking, oh my gosh. But again, it goes back to those numbers and getting to that scale. So it's a good story. I'd highly recommend looking at AutoFit Mastery. It's on all platforms. All social platforms.
Okay. So I don't know. Is there anything we didn't touch on that we should?
No, I don't know. This was really went very deep, went very it was great. It's fantastic, honestly. I had a really good time talking about all these different subjects. I think that didn't expect to talk much about marketing, but man, that's my passion. So I appreciate that.
I feel it's there was questions, and I think people love. Oh, Marco's question. See, you can't get away from the marketing end of it. Because Cash is reminding me to ask Marco's question, which was, do you design and develop websites for clients and provide SEO services as well?
We don't do any SEO. We do build marketing websites for active MediaTune clients. But main thing that we want to do is we want to spark growth, right? My big thing is I want to make a big impact in a short period of time. But it's main focus for us is paint protection film, ceramic coating, Window Tint. Those are the big three for us. Those are the projects. And I'm actually happy to say we work with some of the largest shops in the country.
Are you taking on new clients?
We just kind of opened things back up now that we're coming back into August. But yeah, absolutely.
So mediatune.com?
Themediatune.com. Or you can just message me on Facebook Messenger.
Perfect. Ray Padilla, Facebook Messenger, or themediatune.com. And so you said no SEO, but you do web development and web development plus ads, yeah?
Yeah, big thing is video marketing. Video marketing. That's how, video decides the market leader. That's a whole another rabbit hole. But video is just the way the internet's played nowadays, and that's what really gets people to see you as that 10 out of 10 shop, that 5-star shop. So there's that, and really leveraging video across all marketing channels. Google, YouTube's a big one no one really talks about. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok is another big one that people talk about. That's what we do, paid advertisement to really scale.
What's nice about paid advertisement is when you nail the formula down, it's as simple as just scaling it up. Whereas like SEO, which I absolutely am a huge organic reach, like Google SEO fan. However, it is not as scalable as ads, because ads can make companies can change companies overnight, because you can literally, when you're converting, you can just turn them up. It really is potentially that.
No, big time. The big thing with that, though, the big caveat there is you have to track it, right?
You have to.
If you put $1 in, and again, shout out to Tint Wiz, right? Because that's why we use Tint Wiz so much, because I make it a non-negotiable. There's no CRM. I can't do my job. I don't want to feel like it's, I don't want to guess. I want to know for sure.
You have to.
If I put this $1 in, did I get $8 out? Did I get $10 out? The only way to know that is by making sure you know exactly how many phone calls come in. And if someone says they can't track phone calls, I've started to hear that a little bit more. The myth of I can't track some stuff. That's not true. You can track almost everything. I'll say everything, right? Exactly how many phone calls come in and exactly how many phone numbers are submitted to you, so you can call them through that Tint Wiz lead form, right? So those two metrics you have to keep track of. Or how do you know where your dollars are going? I love SEO. I think it's very powerful, but I'm concerned about it with this AI stuff going on. Did you see the new Google Bard AI announcement? This is months ago. Man, it takes over the whole top of the page now.
Yeah.
Now that you see there's new ad spots that we're going to have to learn. There's still, if you go and search in your market right now and you type in window tint near me, ceramic coating near me, watch how many ads pop up. There's more people advertising now more than ever.
Oh yeah.
If you feel to slow down, it's because your organic ranking got pushed down. So again, I'm not against it. I just feel that it's very hard to not have a paid strategy nowadays, because you kind of need that filler. You got to put your campaign, that data that comes out from your campaigns, that gives you incredible insights to your market's condition, whether it's healthy or not, whether you're getting a lot of the market share or you're not. If there's new people that come in, you're going to find out pretty quick, because your cost per lead is going to skyrocket. So learning that data, it's super important, but you don't need to know everything. Just how many leads came in. I can't preach that enough. And then how much are you spending on each lead? How much is each lead? Are you paying $90 for a paint protection film lead, or are you paying 30 or 50, right? Knowing and understanding those and watching those numbers, that's exactly what I encourage all our partners to do. I'm big on trackability because it gives ultimate transparency. And then at the same time, you can really, like you said, you can scale up pretty aggressively. There's been several times where we've been able to triple someone's revenue just in the first 90 days from a paid ad. It's no joke, but you got to have the right formula in play. And it does not work if you don't have your CRM in play and you're not tracking exactly those two metrics: how many leads are coming in and your cost per lead.
Patrick Francisco said there are full AI AdWord campaigns you can run now.
I got to check with Aladdin and my team. They're all over this stuff. They're keeping me updated on some of this craziness. Yeah. The game's going to be very different 2-3 years from now.
For sure. Everything's always moving quickly. It's like you can ride the wave or you can get smashed by it. It's up to you. Ray, thank you for taking the time to jump on here. Thank you thank you and your whole team for taking on the burden and creating the opportunity and the stage and platform for the Autofilm Mastery. I know events aren't easy to put together. You're putting together a world-class one, and I'm really looking forward to attending it in October.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you there, man. I have a feeling we're going to be talking again real soon.
I look forward to it.
This has been awesome.
And then real quick, next week, I will be back with Dean Mitchell. We'll be talking about tinters for a cause. So if you have questions, concerns, thoughts, ideas, or you just want to hear what the latest with it is, we will be talking about it next week, same time, same place, but Dean Mitchell instead of Ray. Ray, thank you so much again. And thanks to everybody for watching and listening, and I'll see you next week.